All right, so moving along now, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, which is NSFAS, calls for prospective applicants to use the National Youth Development Agency centers to apply for NSFAS bursary for the 2020 academic year. This, of course, is the last push before the closing of the applications at midnight. NSFAS has received over 461,000 applications to date. Starting from when the process opened on the 25th of November to the 25th of November. Administrator Dr. Randall Carolissen joins us now on the line, live from George in the Western Cape, where he's been on the outreach program. Dr. Carolissen, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on the SABC News channel. With about 24 hours to the closing date, how have things panned out?
We are very pleased with the numbers that we've received so far. The due date, the close date is actually tomorrow night, on the 30th of November. And so far, as you said, we've exceeded last year's applications for new students. It's been going very well, and our efforts in going throughout the country into the rural areas and the small towns have paid off very handsomely. We are very pleased with the outcome.
Because we understand that about 14,000 applications a day were received, with the number going as high as about 22,000 a day on Wednesday. I would imagine that with the closing date very close now, the number might even be higher.
Yes, now our systems are actually they're holding up very well. We're very pleased with that also, although it's slow because the large number of people on our website at the moment. But we just ask people to be patient because it's important to get it in before the 30th. Because if we get it in now before the 30th of November, we have enough time to process it and we can then notify people of the outcome before the end of the year. So that when they go to university, they don't have to pay registration fees because then the university will pick them up as NSFAS beneficiaries. So that's very, very pleasing to note. And then we're talking about new applicants. In total, we probably will be going for this year alone, over 750,000 students, if we add the continuing students to that number.
But then, what do we attribute these high numbers to, Dr. Carolissen? Is it perhaps the partnerships between NSFAS and a number of sectors, or is it the fact that people sort of now know what NSFAS is and how NSFAS can help students?
Yeah, so the partnerships are very important. So like when we establish partnerships in communities, they go out and assist us. In KZN, it worked extremely well with this One Foundation, for instance. From KZN alone, we have 125,000 applicants because we can't get to all the towns. And therefore, wherever we go, we build up relationships with NGOs, with the NYDA, with schools, with politicians, with local councils. And there's an increased awareness because the shocking thing was what we found when we went to the small towns and the rural areas, very few people actually know about NSFAS. And we are going to step up our efforts, and we have to step it up, that our schools assist us much better in preparing students well before application season starts so that they can get the documents together. But this is a growing process, and we are pleased with the results so far.
Yeah, but how do we improve on that front going forward, Dr. Carolissen? As you say that part of what you found out was the fact that some people in your deepest rural areas were not familiar with NSFAS. I suppose that's a gap that needs to be closed moving forward.
Of course, yes. What we found, and this was actually quite revealing to us, is that many people in the small towns and the rural areas don't listen to the traditional media. And so they know absolutely nothing about NSFAS. So we are going to have to find a way to get into community radio, community programs and local programs so that young kids become aware of this opportunity, this excellent opportunity much earlier on. It must become part of almost the life orientation at school so that when you're even in lower grades that you can already start to prepare for your future. The other problem that we also find is that, whilst we register the students for NSFAS, they have not applied to universities or to TVET colleges. And so we're working with the vice chancellors to see whether we can still get them into university for next year. The other important part also is we find an increasing number of out-of-school youth that can't find work, large number, almost 200,000 are young people that have not finished matric this year, that finished it earlier. And so they see this is a great opportunity now to improve their employability going forward.
Yeah. So of the over 460,000 applications received, how far is the process really, and how soon would the applicants know of their application status? Do they already know? And I do know that one of the challenges that you usually come across as NSFAS is some missing documents accompanying the application forms.
Yeah. So what we do is we are planning to have all the applications processed before December. And then if there are outstanding documents and issues that might jeopardize students' applications, that we can contact them in the month of December so that we can clear them out. I still foresee, though, that we will have a similar problem with the TVET colleges that we had last year, that students wait till January to then apply. Then they walk into the TVET colleges, and that put an enormous strain on our administration to process those applications in time. But hopefully with the strong applications that we've received so far, that number will be a lot less than last year, we hope. So students must just prepare, make sure that they have all the documents, their ID documents, their proof of income. And luckily we have now links with the Department of Home Affairs. We can validate the students, the ID documents and their father's and their mother's ID documents. And we can validate the income through SARS. And the other thing that's important also is we can validate the SASSA status directly now with the Department of Social Development. And so it's much easier for people to get on board. But the important part is you can only become funded once you are registered at a public institution. So we also urge, therefore, people to also make sure that they apply in time. And if they have not applied, is then to apply to the cash system of DHET so that they can be processed faster. And get the funding allocated to them.
All right. We have to leave it at this, but very quickly, tomorrow midnight is the closing date. Is there a possibility of an extension to the closing date?
Not at the moment. We don't anticipate it, but we also have to be pragmatic. We know and we understand that a lot of students have been slow in responding, and we also know that universities at the moment are the first choice. So when students don't get into the university, then only they decide to go to TVET. And so those types of processing we must so encourage people to think carefully about, because our country needs skills. So TVET must be promoted as also as a destination of choice, not only universities.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming through. The National Student Financial Aid Schemes Administrator, Dr. Randall Carolissen, on the line with us from George in the Western Cape. So the closing date for the applications for the 2020 academic year is tomorrow midnight. And as the doctor said, that there will be no extension. So do make sure that you submit your applications online. All right, let's now take a quick